Welcome, one and all, to the Defo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. We're always looking for help any way we can. Maybe we're not always looking for help any way we can, but when things happen to our home, we need help any way we can. Water Cleanup of Florida is that help to make sure if you have any water, fire, mold damage, it gets alleviated with ease. Now you can reach them 24/7. They have over 6 years of experience with Michael, Robert, and their team, plus licensed contractors. So when you find, we'll cross our fingers, hopefully you never find anything with your home. But sadly, in life, our wishes and hopes always don't come true. So sometimes we have to deal with tough things. And if you find any damage with your home in those forms, Water Cleanup of Florida are your people to come check it out and fix it. One fell swoop. Give them a call, 954-579-0356, 954-579-0356, or visit the website, at WCUFL.com, WCUFL.com. If you mention 5 Reasons or Lubie, you will receive a free inspection during business hours. And you can follow them on their socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Water Cleanup FL. Look, we never want to deal with anything with our homes. However, they do happen. Why not make it nice and easy on yourself and get in touch with Water Cleanup of Florida? We clean up your schmutz. It's been interesting so far as the Miami Dolphins have had a lot surrounding them when it came to the moves they've made, the coach they hired, the coach they fired. Well, there have been certain reports about this they wanted to hire. We talked about that with Mr. Dave Hyde, one of the longest tenured sports columnists in all of South Florida. Plus, we talked with Dave about the Miami Heat. We know you love your Heat. Well, there's talking about rumors. Miami Heat love the offseason, the fans and the franchise. What are the Heat going to do? What did the Heat want to do? Well, Pat Riley made some interesting comments. Dave Hyde had his own take on those comments. We talked about that and a little bit of Marlins today. The Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
The foremost authority when it comes to South Florida sports now, and has been doing it for a long, long time at the Sun Sentinel, and always love his insight into the various things that are happening, not just here locally, but around the globe. So we welcome to the program the outstanding sports columnist, Mr. Dave Hyde. Dave, how are you, my friend?
I'm well, Defo. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I really am. I think that day is coming, though, don't you? From that clip that we played, I don't know if you had a chance to catch that, but yeah, where they actually go to the managers or the coaches before the game and ask them who they would bet on, as opposed to what do you think? Are you going to give so and so more minutes? They'll be saying, would you lay 160 on your team tonight, coach? And they'll actually be obligated to answer because they're wearing like a FanDuel patch or DraftKings on their shirt pocket.
That will be we might as well go to the owner and ask him, are we, is it an open game tonight or is the fix in? What do you think?
Yeah.
And,
well, yeah, Stephen Ross would apply there.
Well, according to allegations, that will be proven or not proven in court, right? But, yeah, I think we're headed into a big area of gambling in sports, obviously, and, you look at what the Broncos went for $4.5 billion record franchise. That's starting to be reflected in the price of the teams.
That's true. I mean, look, you can't make a bad investment. It doesn't seem like if you're buying a sports franchise, with rare exception. But wow, I mean, when I saw that figure, it's unbelievable because we know that Ross, not that many years ago, paid what seemed like an exorbitant figure for the Miami Dolphins, and now they have to be worth 5 times that in terms of billions. So, these guys that are in that position in sports, no matter how badly mismanaged the team is or how poorly they perform on the field, always seem to cop massive benefits from their ownership. All right, speaking of ownership, what is and what isn't true about the Miami Dolphins, Dave? we don't know what to believe, right? Did they go after Brady? Was Brady on the boat there when, they had Brian Flores bringing him a cocktail saying, hey, how'd you like to own a piece of the team and be our quarterback? And was Sean Payton really offered like $100 million to coach the team for 2 years? What was going on with that, and how important is it to know?
The boat was moving towards Davey. Let's put it that way. I mean, things haven't been signed, obviously, or final agreements, but they were talking to bringing on Brady, bringing on Payton, and the discussed figure or what was 5 years, $100 million for Payton, and assistants were all lined up talking about moving here. And if you look at the timeline of the Dolphins hiring of Mike McDaniel, there was this bizarre. They got down to Kellen Moore and Mike McDaniel, who nobody else was interviewing at the time, and they interviewed them once. They brought them here, and then they said, we're going to interview them the following week. In other words, they're going to take a week off from interviewing when they're talking to nobody else for their head coach. And it was a bizarre hesitation at the time. I didn't understand what was going on, and now I understand that they were talking to bringing on Payton and the whole Brady thing, and that's right at the end of that, right before they interviewed McDaniel the second time, was when the Brian Flores lawsuit was filed. Yeah. And that sabotaged everything. I mean, it was all moving towards that. It's not like they had, everything was a sure thing that it was going to happen, but assistants were talking about it. And Vic Fangio would have been the defensive coordinator. If you remember, there was this other story that in the aftermath of Harry McDaniel, that Vic Fangio was being talked to be the defensive coordinator, which it came out of left field because there was no connection between the two that anybody understood. And now, okay, well, they were talking to Vic Fangio before all this. And so, I mean, it'll be one of the great what if moments, or will it hang over the Dolphins this year? I mean, Daniel and Tua obviously have a great opportunity this year, great weapons on offense now, and, every chance to succeed. And the question becomes for Steve Ross or whatever happens here, the question becomes for the Dolphins, is Brady off the table and Payton off the table, or if the Dolphins struggle this year, will that, rear its head again next off season?
Wow.
Dave, okay, so you almost answered my question, but I'm still a little curious. How close was it? Like, let me just ask you, in your estimation, you've covered this team a long time. If the Florida stuff doesn't happen, is Sean Payton the coach of the Miami Dolphins right now, by your estimation?
Yes, I think that would have happened. Wow. Now to say how close was it? Again, it wasn't like all the papers were drawn up and all that, okay. But it was. Look, Brady is setting roots down in Miami, right? Indian Creek with, yep. And that's not only because of the Dolphins, but he's been friends with Bruce Beal, the Dolphins owner in waiting for a while. I mean, there was a big Super Bowl party here, the infamous Super Bowl week when Steve Ross wanted Brian Flores to meet Tom Brady at a marina, remember?
Yep.
And Flores walked out on it, according to the lawsuit. Now, Brady's name isn't mentioned, but everybody knows it was Brady. A prominent quarterback, I think, is the phrasing in the lawsuit. That was the week that Bruce Beal had a big Super Bowl party, and Brady and Gisele Bundchen and all that, they hang out together. And so that's really, I think, where it all started. And then dots started to get connected, and and the other part of it is Brady really entertained the idea of going to New Orleans when he left New England, and I was told he probably would have gone there, as Drew Brees was hesitating on whether he'd play another year or not, and then Brees decided to play another year, and Brady then went to Tampa Bay. But there's the connection a little between. It shows that Brady and Sean Payton had something. It isn't like out of the blue that all of a sudden they decided to work together, or would have decided to work together if it come together. But again, it's one of those what if moments, and I tell you what, if it had happened, you'd need security guards at the Dolphin ticket office right now. It was commendable ambition on their part, in that it would have been crazy in this offseason right now for the Dolphins as far as they'd be the top team in football.
As the comedian, I believe his name was Artie Johnson, used to say, very interesting, Dave Hyde, very interesting. Now, my other question coming out of that whole theoretical stuff and hypothetical that didn't happen, although it sounds like there was, credible reason to believe that it was about to, as you said, came very close to happening, were it not for the flare that was sent out there by the Brian Flores lawsuit. But what does that say about the Dolphins' opinion of Tua, who they now are embracing warmly, that they were would have been more than happy to pay a fortune to have Tom Brady come here and possibly play quarterback for the team for 1 year?
It says that they didn't think he's as good as Tom Brady, I guess. I'll let everybody know. You can sort of draw your own conclusions on they were going in a completely different direction, a completely go for it in 1 year. If you get Brady at age, what is he, 45? Turns 45 this August, or 44?
Yes. Yep.
You know, the years just blend together.
He's getting so old. I think, as oldest guy.
Yeah. So, it says that they were ready to move on from Tua if they'd gone in that direction. And again, what a bizarre subplot to the euphoria over McDaniel and Tua, and everybody's happy, and this is the greatest offseason they ever had. Okay, yeah, maybe. I'm not dismissing the optimism. There should be reason for optimism considering the moves they've made. But there was this other completely opposite plot going on that got shut down, or that didn't happen.
All right, Dave, so I want to switch gears onto the Miami Heat, as it's funny. The offseason really isn't here yet. The finals are still going on, but if the Heat were so close that people are trying to get the bitter taste out of their mouth, so fans and even media down here have already, even national media, have started throwing the trade machine out there. You being around Riley, covering this team a lot, you know his propensity to try and make the big move. He really didn't even shirk away from it when he was asked about it at his end-of-season wrap-up session. What are your thoughts on the Miami Heat's offseason? Donovan Mitchell's a name that keeps popping up. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. Been spending a lot of time with the guy, and he's not hiding his being sort of cryptic. Do you see them making that big move? And if so, who do you think is sort of in that deal that they give up on?
Well, you can start with who will be traded, and that has to be Duncan Robinson. They've decided Max Strus is a better player, and he's a far, far cheaper player. He made $1.8 million, I think, last year, and Duncan Robinson made $16.9. And look, teams want Duncan Robinson. He does exactly what is at a premium in the league right now in 3-point shooting. So so start there. Then you got their 27th pick overall. That's another chip. The question becomes who's available. Donovan Mitchell, is he available? You go around the league and there's a few players who might pop open like him. And do they put Tyler Hero in that? How would a deal be structured, and would Riley sign off on? He's not afraid, as we know, of making deals he thinks that will put the Heat in a championship conversation. And for everybody who says, well, that he likes Tyler Hero too much, well, I'm sure they do love Tyler Hero, but they love Lamar Odom, they love Caron Butler, and they traded him when Shaq became available. So I have no idea whether he's going to make a move or not. I just, because I don't know, what the other team out there. I hear the names being mentioned: Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell. But are they really available, and what does Riley think of them? I have no doubt he would make a trade if he, no matter who on the roster. But I just don't know. And you know what? They probably need to upgrade too. As good as this season was, as close as they were, 1 3-point shot from going to the NBA Finals. If you're talking championship, you can't sit still, and you think Milwaukee is sitting there thinking, boy, if we just had our healthy all-star in the lineup, we would have beat Boston in Game 7, and we'd be in the NBA Finals. So there's a lot of teams who like the Heat are saying we're right there. Or not a lot. There's a few. And so the Heat aren't going to sit still. The question becomes how much they move, and is there a big name out there?
Dave Hyde of the Sun Sentinel with us here on the Defo Show on South Florida Live. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz. Have you had a chance to talk to your cohort there at the Sun Sentinel, who's been covering the Heat since the team's inception, Ira Winderman, and get any kind of a feel for how it was to be singled out by Pat Riley to be challenged to a push-up contest at a major press conference where the world is watching? Did Winderman have anything to say about that, Ira Winderman?
I think he said, "Come on, Riley, let's go, you and me." That's
ready to go, huh? For
Riley.
playing Harvey Fialkoff tennis, he's in shape like that.
I would have loved it. It would have been a magical moment to have a push-off.
You imagine, Ryan taking his blue shirt off?
That would have been great.
Telling Winderman to get down on the ground. That would have been awesome.
Let's go. That video would go viral. It'd still be going viral right now, right? It would have been the high. Maybe the high moment's as good as the Pulitzer Prize that Ira won. It would have been the hallmark of his career.
I give Riley, credit for buying into the Heat culture, though. It wasn't like he was going to take an easy mark like Barry Jackson and challenge him to a push-up contest. And he went for Winderman, keeps himself in pretty good shape, Ira.
He didn't look around the room and say, "Where's Defo?"
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I would have been in the age bracket there for sure. All right, a quick thought on the Miami Marlins. They've got a little spurt going. They're 4 games under 500. Seems insignificant because the Mets are having a great season so far. The Braves have won 15 in a row, and the so-called cream is rising to the top. The Mets are doing this so far with Scherzer being shut down the last couple of weeks and DeGrom not having pitched yet, both supposedly getting set to come back. The Braves, we know, defending champion, always going to be tough in these spots. Where does that leave the Marlins? And I guess the bigger question is, will this be Don Mattingly's last year as the manager of the Marlins, regardless of whether they eclipse 500 or not?
I hope it's not his last year. He brings a measure of great professionalism to the team. But they're not going to get it's not his fault or that where they are. I credit him from the day he's come in the door. The organization's been a lot more professional and things have been run much better. And
as opposed to Ozzie Guillen, right? It was here for a couple of years. Who I happen to like, but
I actually enjoyed him.
He opened up a big mouth.
Yeah. It didn't quite work out. That the Aussie era didn't quite work out. No, look, we know the uphill struggle for the Marlins. Their payroll $70 million. Those other teams in the NL East are double to triple, depending on which team you're talking. And so, what they need to do is get hot right now. Stay hot. Just get close to the wild card and go to the owner and say, if we get another legitimate bat, we have a chance to make a run for a playoff spot. That was the plan all year. That to stay close, hang tight, and they struggled and have struggled, and they got, like you said, in the last week since that infamous team meeting, they've got hot. But they need some help if they're going to maintain. I mean, poor Sandy Alcantara. Every game he's thrown, giving it 1 or 2 runs and pounding water bottles on the bench afterwards because it's not holding. So I mean, they need some help. More bats, more runs.
Did he pick that up from Rafael Nadal, who lines up the water bottles in a particular way? I noticed that the other night. I wasn't sure if that was something he did all the time. But the guy's pitching to like a 1.68 earned run average. Yeah. He's going 7 minimum in every game, even completing games. And I believe he's 6-2 now. And, obviously he was in a position to win that game the other night against Philadelphia before unfortunately, Mattingly had to go to the bullpen. And how disgusting is that? That was so typical Marlins the last few years where, you bring in a left-hander, and what does he do? He goes ahead and
next hitter
automatically, like before you even have a chance to sit down with a drink, he's already given up the tying run and put yourself and your team in a compromising position. Dave, always a pleasure, my friend. Good stuff there on that Dolphin thing. Because we just kind of touched on that story yesterday, but you really illuminated it very well as to what was going on. We really appreciate that. Thanks so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure, my friend.
Big thank you to the one and only Dave Hyde for joining us today. You can follow him, hit him up on Twitter at Dave Hyde Sports. Still doing great things with South Florida Sun Sentinel. Appreciate him joining us this morning. If you want to check us out each and every morning, lots of places. You can go to the YouTube South Florida Live. You can Google the Defo Show with Lubie. You can go to the Facebook page, South Florida Live, or the Defo Show with Lubie Facebook page at SoFly Live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SoFly Live. Check us out there. Check us out in our exclusive content podcast. Today we talk with Howard Bryant, legendary sports writer, has a new book out on Ricky Henderson. Really fun, interesting conversation. That's on the Believe Network. Just search Believe.com, BLEAV.com, After Hours. And, of course, each and every day, our South Florida skewed content right here. The Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?